Good Tuesday morning. I'm Jim. He's Amedeus, and somewhere between the Earth and New York City is Sean Miller, en route to beautiful downtown Barcelona. And so he may or may not be joining us today. We'll find out. Anyway, Amadeus, it's great to have you. We just were citing the fact that we were a little late because we start off every day by looking for balloons that might be floating over us, but we're good now. So that's all been checked.
Yeah, it's like my new bat signal.
Right. Yeah.
Right. You wake up and look for it in the morning. It's almost like it's almost like the groundhog now. It's like, is there a balloon in the sky? Okay, 6 more weeks of winter.
Yeah, 6 more weeks of winter, 6 more weeks of worrying about Chinese, whatever. One or the other. The Kansas City Chiefs, by the way, in case you missed it, beat the Philadelphia Eagles 38-35 just Sunday in the Super Bowl. And the Fox early averages are in on the viewership. Viewership, 113 million, making it the third most watched Super Bowl in American television history. So there you go.
Now, what about the halftime show?
That was still a social media phenomenon that, it's got, here's how meta this thing has gone. Okay. There are people reviewing the video of Rihanna's halftime show, trying to figure out how many weeks pregnant she is. Okay.
What stage is her waddle in?
Right. Now, let me explain something. Okay. I can only speak for myself. I'm not speaking for Amedeus. If this is what you want to talk about, you have no life. I'm begging you. Figure out something else. Read a book. Do something. But if this is all you got, I am very sorry for you. But don't bring your crazy here. We don't want it. Okay? That is me speaking. I don't speak for Amedeus on that. But if you're worried about how many weeks pregnant Rihanna is, God love you. Anyway.
Yeah, I would agree, just because, I had the same reaction at the halftime show. I said, oh, she looks pregnant, but I didn't feel the need to go decipher it like it's the next Da Vinci Code.
Still like the Zapruder film and the Kennedy assassination.
How many weeks?
Each frame has to be analyzed.
Could have it down to the second.
Full transparency, I did the halftime show when the breast flew out of, supposedly Janet Jackson. You know how long that breast was on here?
Wasn't it a split second?
Less than a second. I don't know how they saw it. I mean, they must slow down things to an absolute frame by frame thing, because that's the only way. I mean, we didn't see it, and we were there, and we had 17 cameras on it. You do the math. I don't care. Anyway, we got all kinds of soccer going on here today.
Yeah, we do.
Byron, that's a biggie.
Yes, the Champions League is back. Finally back.
And we got Milan and the Spurs are playing against Milan, PSG, and all that's on Paramount Plus if you're here in the U.S. and want to watch it. So good on you. Two good games, a doubleheader there on Paramount this afternoon. So anything on today's schedules hit you there?
Yeah, so obviously, AC Milan is my team there,
right,
and going up against Tottenham. I view this game as pretty much two very similar teams going against each other. Both aren't the highest quality of talent,
right?
But they're good. Tottenham's obviously we know their team that finishes around 4th to 6th in the Premier League, and even though AC Milan finishes right now, they're not, but normally they're top 3 team. They won the title last year, but considering the drop off in the leagues, that would be a little even, I'd say. So this is a pretty even matchup, and it's tough because it's a 2-leg match, so. I don't love this one, but Milan, you know they're going to come to play at home, but they've been awful. They've been in awful form lately. They've been giving up a ton of goals. Now they're coming off a 1-0 win against Torino in their last match, which was good for them because it really showed that, you know, they were trying to tighten up their defense coming into this match. So this is one where I think they probably come to play a little more defensively. I know they're at home and they do need to get a lead here to take back to Tottenham because they definitely don't want to be trailing or tied going into that second leg. But at the same time, I think that I think they're still I still think they're gonna struggle at home, and their main focus is gonna be on keeping Tottenham out of the net because as bad as Tottenham has been this year, they've actually won 3 of their last 4 games, and they kept clean sheets in all of those wins. Now, Tottenham's coming off a 4-1 loss to Leicester over the weekend.
Right.
But, you know, that was a match where you could say they knew they had a Champions League match on Tuesday, and they probably weren't giving their best effort on the road against Leicester. They were likely looking ahead to this one. So, yeah, this is definitely a tougher match. Not my favorite. I would think I think tomorrow's games are a bit better, but yeah, there's definitely some value either way you go here. But I don't know if you're going to see a lot of goals in this game.
You know, is it fair to say that Spurs, when they play to the level of their opponents?
Yeah, I would say that
because I've seen them play out of their mind against the good teams, and then I've seen them play like they forgot how to play against bad teams.
Yeah, and I think that's why, you know, I don't expect a lot of goals here because I think it's some way on the road here in another country, they're going to play down to the level of AC Milan a bit, which hasn't been great lately. But I see it being a tough game for either team really to get an inch in this game because, you know, it's the first leg. Nobody wants to go down going into the second leg. And even though AC Milan is on the road in that one and they'd like to have a lead, you know, they'll still take the draw because you can try and play defensively and win in penalties or, you know, squeak out like a counterattack. Maybe you beat them 1-0 on the road or something like that. But you always give yourself a chance with the draw. So you don't necessarily have to push for the win in this first leg, even though it's important to take that lead at home.
It's hard for some American audiences to understand that a tie isn't a bad thing. You know, sometimes a tie is if the team you're playing is so far superior and you can end up getting with a tie, then you'll get on that bus and have a wonderful plane ride home. You know, winning is great, but if you can't win, tying is okay too.
Exactly. And it comes down to like, it's not even about, oh, we got 1 point instead of 0. It doesn't even, because like, yeah, it doesn't seem like a lot. Like, oh, it's 1 point, whatever. That 1 point will go far. It matters in the long run for sure. But I'm talking about short term to the players. It's not even like, oh, thank God we got a point instead of coming away with 0. No, it's the fact that you made the good team drop 2 points, right? They came in thinking we're going to get an easy 3 against you. And you held up on defense. You got that draw and you're the ones laughing now because you're like, we made you drop 2 points. We stole points from you in a game we shouldn't have had any. So that's why I think it's a confidence booster. It has nothing to do with the amount of actual points you get from the game. I think you're absolutely right with the, you beat one of the better teams. It's all about, we stole your points.
They left points on the table. You didn't.
Exactly.
You weren't supposed to win anyway. So how did you lose?
Because these teams know when you're at the bottom of the table and you're playing Man City, you know you don't have a chance to win.
Right.
So if you can come away with a draw, that is a win for you.
Sure.
Because you didn't lose.
But there's that, and there's the mental bit, right? Where you come off the pitch and you're like, dude, we played the best team in the league, and we played them to a draw. You know?
Exactly.
Everybody else had us losing by 2 or 3 goals.
And that's the other thing. That's the confidence aspect. So now they can carry that over into the next match because they're going to be thinking in their minds, oh, if we can draw Man City 1-1, then, we should be able to beat Nottingham at home or something like that, right? Like we can squeak out a 1-0 win here. We can do it.
Yeah, you can build on it.
Exactly.
So you had mentioned yesterday that PSG would have Messi back, right? Today.
Yeah, so Messi's supposed to play today. Mbappe's, I think, is available, but he's not going to start.
Okay.
But I think they're keeping on the bench in case it gets out of hand. They might force him to get in there. I don't know what's going on.
Well, he's got a high ankle sprain. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I don't know if him. I wouldn't rush him back. I mean, you're going to need this dude, right?
Yeah.
If you think you can win with just Messi on the pitch, which they should be able to, and we're talking. Byron's one of the most schizophrenic teams I've seen. Jesus.
Yeah.
You're into the gaming business. There's no way in hell I would touch a game with Byron in it.
Well, you know why me and Sean call it the Bundesliga.
That's true. But I mean, they would scare me. Now PSG's been inconsistent. Okay, they got whacked, in their last game. But all that being said, they still have a talented group of people on the pitch.
Yeah.
This one might be a game. I'm going to watch it. I'm not going to worry about whether who's even favorite.
It's a pretty much like a pick 'em. So Bayern's plus 140 now, and PSG's plus 175. But last night that was plus 155 for PSG and plus 160 for Bayern. So some money has moved the line towards Bayern. But just to give you an example of you call Bayern a schizophrenic team, here's a great example. So they came back from the World Cup with their extra month of break and their, their toes done, their fingernails done, everything nice. And
many petties. Yes.
Yeah, seriously, like a month long, an extra month off. But anyway, so they come back 3 straight 1-1 draws against Leipzig, Köln, and I think Eintracht Frankfurt.
Right.
Since their last 1-1 draw, their last 3 games have been 4-0 win, 4-2 win, 3-0 win. So, that's a great example. You come out, you're 3 1-1 draws. It's like, what the hell's going on with you? And then the next 3 games, you just explode for 12 goals and allow 2. Or 10 goals, I guess. 4,
wow.
3.
That's a stat that will astound you. Oh man, that's nuts.
And, so
and they also look, they're not void of talent.
Yeah.
They got players. But
definitely. And you know what? Me and Sean had touched on how they were struggling to score. They thought Sadio Mane would replace Lewandowski, but it's not. You're not really replacing that position with Mane. So they figured that out because they were struggling to score earlier in the season. So they throw Choupo-Moting up in that striker position. And right before the World Cup, he was on fire. He scored something like 6 goals in 6 matches, and he was just on fire, scoring like every game for them. So then flash forward to the World Cup, and Choupo-Moting turns out to be one of like the Cameroon's best players in the tournament in the 3 games they played, right? So this is something now where I see Bayern, they saw what they were doing for him. They saw he went to Cameroon and, still made a big impact. And I think they've decided now at this point that he's earned the spot as their striker. And he's a good one. He's a proper replacement for Lewandowski, in my opinion. So they're a dangerous team right now with 3 wins in a row. And, like you said, PSG has been inconsistent from coming back from the break. They've had an extra month to play and warm up. So they have that advantage over Bayern. But that advantage goes away when Bayern has won 3 straight now coming into this match. And PSG has been nothing but injury riddled and struggling to win games. They had to rest players on the weekend and got destroyed by Monaco. They threw Neymar in like the 70th minute just to try and salvage the match. But like it was gone at that point. It could have been like 6-1 Monaco if you had watched that match. So this is one Messi and Neymar are going to play. They're going to be well rested, but there's still no Mbappe. they're still missing some key, midfield players.
Yeah.
This is one where I think Bayern's the healthier team, and Bayern sees it's like a limping deer in the wild, right? They see
Right.
this PSG team, and it's like, this is our chance. Mbappe might be back for the second leg. If we can
Right.
go take a lead here now, then it makes our job easier in the second leg at home, because it's easier to play at home and we can maybe defend more.
Right.
Put the onus on them to score.
Yeah, get them in the box. So basically, what you're just saying, this game may be won or lost in the midfield. Fair.
Yeah, I think PSG is missing some key players, and they've been for a while, but it's a lot of patch fixing, and their attack just doesn't flow the same way when everybody's in there. Like, I've noticed when you take an Mbappe out for a game or Messi out for a game and just have one of them in there, their attack doesn't have the same bite to it. And that's going to be a problem against a team we know has scored 3 goals in their last 3 matches, 3 goals in each of their last 3 matches. So, this is a Bayern team that can score. Sure, their defense isn't great, but if they tighten up for this match against a weaker PSG team and just go for it, then yeah, they could very well come away with a win here, and they could be in a great position staring at PSG in the second leg.
Which is not a bad thing to be, going from that standpoint. And that might be, we talked about it just a few minutes ago. That might be where a tie, they'll come out to take a tie, because then you've got a point going into your own home and you haven't lost.
Yeah, and this game's it's tough too, because it's one of those where, like, again, the teams are pretty evenly matched. And if you ask me and Sean at the beginning of the year, we would have told you PSG was going to win this matchup. They're the better team and they're going to advance. But sometimes things change, because obviously your PSG is dealing with the injuries now. Like, this has been an issue since the World Cup. They haven't been great. And, I think it's one of those things where, like, Bayern's, even though they had the extra month off and a little rustier, they've gotten into form now, and they've been ramping up their last few matches, while PSG has been doing the opposite. It's like they've been collecting more and more injuries, and they're limping right now. They're just trying to get to the match, and they're not even fully healthy here. So I think that really does hamper them here, and I think Bayern might actually have a good chance. And as you can see, the money's moved out.
I read a story this morning about the game, saying that this might be the most important coaching game for PSG's manager, because the expectations are high with PSG, and to come in and play Bayern and lose would be, on your own home pitch, would be not a good thing. And I'm not saying that I didn't get the idea they were going to fire him, but I also didn't get the idea that they were overwhelmingly excited about how the manager's handling things.
Yeah, I would agree with that, just because you have this manager, he's got a great team with tons of talent, tons of depth, but now you're missing key players, and this is probably one of the most important matches of your season. It's time to see, how are you going to handle this adversity? And the important thing for PSG here is they cannot lose this match. Like we discussed, they'd like to win and take a lead going into Germany. But in PSG's case here, if you're getting Mbappe back in 2 weeks for the next leg, and you're going to have a stronger team, so what, you're on the road, you might have a better chance of winning with your stronger team on the road. So this is one where I think PSG would be content with the draw. It's all about just escaping this match without a loss and putting yourself in a position to win and advance in the second leg with your stronger team. That's what this match is going to be about. And I totally agree. It's going to be all about, I think, the manager. What's important for the PSG manager today is about keeping the ball out of the net for Bayern. It's going to be about defense today. And I see all these people, on the over 2.5, it's pretty juiced too. I think it's over 3 right now. And these two teams, you look at it, it's easy. It's easy to say over 3 with these teams, but I see this being probably a tighter match, because like I said, Bayern doesn't need, they play the second leg at home, so they don't need to go out there and win it. They're going to try to pounce on a weakened PSG, but if they can't break PSG down defensively, Bayern will be happy with a 1-0 win, or even just to escape with a draw, because they know they're going to be at home in the second leg with a better chance to win there.
Right.
While PSG can't really go for it here with their weaker squad, because they could open themselves up defensively to a strong Bayern attack. So this is one where, like, you got to escape this match without the loss and get yourself to the second leg with in a good position to win.
Billy's going with Byron with team total of over 1.5.
Yeah, like I just said, I don't know if the game's gonna go over, but I mean, if you're leaning to Bayern, I wouldn't tell you no. That's like, I wouldn't want to touch PSG in this spot. I know they're at home, but it's just it's a bad with their squad and everything. It's just a bad spot. I think the second leg is the one they're really focusing on, because they know they'll probably have Mbappe back.
The manager's name, by the way, is Christopher Galtier. So, I mean, I feel stupid sitting here saying, well, the manager, it's not that hard, Jim. Google his name. So anyways, it's Christopher Gaultier. And he will be the guy on the hot seat today in Paris. So, where the weather is not bad today, so they should.
Yeah, it's also important because this team has a big implosion factor to it with Mbappe and Messi. So if they get knocked out of the Champions League in this round, I can almost guarantee you this team is collapsing in the summertime. It's going to be a massive fire sale because Mbappe is going to want to leave. Messi might stay, but you're gonna have a 40-year-old that you're gonna have to build a team around now. That's not gonna be there very long. So,
well, he's not Tom Brady,
right? Maybe he wants to play another 10 years. Who knows? Maybe Tom can do it. I can do it, right?
Yeah, maybe he wants to replace him in the Buccaneers. Maybe, it's the Glazers from Bayern. I mean, from Manchester United. So maybe he'll give him a call. You never know.
Messi looks at it like, hey, if he can play till 45, I don't even get hit in my sport.
Right. Nobody touches me.
Exactly. Nobody dares to touch me. So I could play till 50.
Yeah, no problem. Hey, any interest in the Champions League, English Champion League? It's hard to say.
The championship.
Tournament.
Yeah, I think
Birmingham City is playing Cardiff. Coventry is playing Millwall. Norwich City is playing Hull City. Queen's Park Rangers, Sunderland, Burnley, and Watford. That's kind of an interesting one.
Yeah.
And Reading and Rottingham United.
Yeah, I don't follow the championship too much, but I know this Burnley team, they're one of those Premier League teams that went down and they're dominating the league. They've been great at home. I mean, minus 150 is not the best price for them, but they're probably going to beat Watford at home here. And Burnley would be, I guess, the only real play I'm looking at in the championship today. It's a little high price, so if you want, take the -1. They could do it by 2. I think they win the game though. Like Burnley's been a solid, right? They're dominating the league. They're going to be back in the Premier League next year. It's one of those teams where, like, you take them at home, close to even money, and you should be having a happy season.
Anything else on the list out here today that you like? There's South American teams, there's Mexican teams, there's a couple of Brazilian games.
Yeah, there's not a lot just because of the Champions League. So these other smaller, we don't even get, not even the classic Cluj in Romania. But I know Copa Libertadores, the qualifiers just started last week. So those aren't any of the good teams. I was watching one of the games and the commentator said only like one team has ever started in this qualifying round of the Copa Libertadores and made it to the group stage. So that's why we're not watching the Copa Libertadores yet. But soon we're going to be at that group stage and it'll be time. So it'll be like on Champions League days, we'll have Champions League in the afternoon and then Copa Libertadores at nighttime. So it's nice.
And that's a nice thing. You get the afternoon, you take a nice dinner break and go back and watch more.
Exactly. Thank you, time zones.
That's right. Pick it.
Doing something right for once.
Yeah, how about that?
Letting me watch different games.
definitely.
Yeah,
Do
then
your
that MLS starts, and I gotta watch all 12 games on at
Yeah.
7.
They're all at the same time.
Oh yeah, that's starting too soon. Like what, 10 days, 11
Yeah, my
days.
brother. I was talking to my brother yesterday, and they are in the midst of they're in the midst of final practices. They're out in Carson, which is Los Angeles, basically, and they're running through all their practice drills through.
It's like their spring training, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, what it is with the cameras and all that, they've got 2 high school soccer teams out playing, and they're working on this, the different types of cameras they're using, the different types of ways they're going to handle it, throws back and forth to the studio and back, that sort of stuff. So it's not like this has never been done before. It's just that it's not been done by Apple. So, you want to see how the graphics look. You want to see how all that stuff, all the equipment that you think you have, but you need something else. It's always something. But yeah, they're only a week away. We're only 2 weeks away from spring training starting. So your Jays, looking, they'll be around.
It just avoided arbitration with Bo Bichette, so
that's a big one, actually.
That's a huge one because he's one of our guys.
You don't want to lose him.
I went to get the Bo Flow bobblehead. I didn't make it. I didn't make it in time. No, I didn't make it in time. But I learned my lesson because I asked. I said, "So what the hell?" And they said, "Oh, those go in like the first half hour." And I didn't know you could show up 2 hours before the game. So the next time I went and got the Vlad and Dad bobblehead.
There you go.
Yeah, little Vlad Senior, Vlad Junior.
Yeah. A lot of places, they open up at 2 hours because there are a number of people who like to watch batting practice.
Yeah.
And so if you get there ahead of time, not only do you get the first chance at the bobblehead, but you also get the opportunity to, watch some of these guys just launch the ball. And that's kind of fun. It's like your own little, maybe 1,000 people in the stadium watching home run derby. It's a fun thing. So, they still call it the Rogers Center.
Yeah, it's still the Rogers Center because it's the team's owned by Rogers. I found out that's why they changed the name in the first place because I know my mom still calls it the Sky Dome. And a lot of people in my life, because my dad worked on the Sky Dome. He's a construction guy, right? So he kind of did like the concrete infrastructure for it. But so I found out when Rogers bought the Blue Jays, the stadium was included. So they decided we're just going to rename it Rogers because
that's a cable company.
Yeah, exactly. Right? It is a cable company. Rogers and Bell up here are the two.
Yeah, it's like Comcast owning NBC Universal. It's a cable company that owns the network.
But everybody hates Rogers now because about a month ago, their system completely crashed, and most of the majority of stores around here, like grocery stores and whatever, all their systems, their Wi-Fi and stuff run on Rogers. So nobody could buy anything that entire day. Nobody could text anybody if you were on Rogers. I'm on Telus personally, so I didn't have the problem. But that's what I mean. Like my girlfriend was at work and, you literally couldn't buy something unless you had cash on you because the system was down.
Cash, right?
Exactly. And the Rogers system was down entirely. And people were so pissed off at them because they didn't even come out and was like, oh, we'll give everybody this amount off of their bill or whatever. It took a lot of public pressure. And then a week later, they came out and says, okay, we're going to credit everybody with something with like $6 where it wasn't even the 2 days that their system was down. And it's like, wow, Rogers, great as always.
Service on that part, yeah.
And that's supposed to be their thing. That's what they claim to, because they have slow internet. They have slow everything. So their thing is like, we have the best customer service. Like, no, you don't, because you don't give a crap about your customers.
If you need customer service that bad, no, you don't. It's wild. I personally, I continue to just call it Sky Dome. I think it's one of the best places to go
My mom still calls the garden, the Maple Leaf
Oh,
Garden.
okay. Well, that I've gotten past that one.
Yeah, we're like three arenas now.
You're three incarnations. Yeah, that. But I do like the Sky Dome, and I also they have a fantastic. It's been renovated a couple times now. A fantastic spring training facility in Dunedin, which is really nice.
I'm sorry, you say Berlin?
I'm sorry?
You say Berlin?
No, I said Dunedin.
Oh, okay. Sorry, the phone rang right when you said it.
I was thinking, did I say Berlin?
I was like, Berlin? They're going to Germany? You're practicing?
Yeah, they're so excited they're going to Germany.
Yeah, seriously, the NFL, they're pulling the NFL here.
No,
it was so successful.
Why don't we just train there?
Let's go bring baseball over.
Right, bring baseball. Football got a lot of traction. Let's bring baseball. No, Dunedin. Dunedin. It's the good thing about it is it's like if you go down there to Dunedin, within an hour's drive of you, you can watch. Basically, that's a 10-minute ride. 10 minutes away from the Phillies. So you got that. You're about a 45 minutes, half hour away from the Yankees. You go 90 minutes and you got Baltimore, and kick back to maybe a little over 90 minutes and you get Atlanta. So, and then there's the Tigers not that far away. So you can go down and kind of, especially when they play a daytime, nighttime thing, you can go and watch the Jays play a daytime game at 1 o'clock, and then 7 o'clock you can scoot over and watch Tampa. You go to Tampa and watch the Yankees play. So there's plenty of easily running around and watching your favorite teams play during spring training. They built the pod type thing where teams are not that far away from each other.
Yeah.
So that makes it a lot easier, a lot more fun.
Big facility almost.
Do you bet baseball, or is baseball something you work on at, or is it just primarily the soccer area?
Oh, I actually do bet baseball, and I had a phenomenal record last season. It's actually it's probably one of my better sports, if I'm being honest. I can pull up my record for you right now, so the people know they have something to look forward to.
Something coming down the pike, yeah.
Last year, my record for the entire season, including playoffs, was 103, 69, and 2 for plus 21,000.
Well, you would have won the division.
Yeah, 103, 69. It's pretty much
darn good.
2 pushes, 2 ties in there.
Oh man,
two ties back in the good old days of ties. But yeah. So plus 20K units. So definitely.
Let's get ready for baseball season, boys and girls.
I'm looking forward because NBA ever since the trade deadline. Honestly, I made this reference the other day. I said the NBA trade deadline is almost like a swingers party. It's like, here, you take that guy's been effing you for the last 6 months. Here, I'll take him, and you take this guy who's been effing me, and maybe they'll be happy. And
I love the analogy. I love the analogy. It's hilarious.
It's true though. It's like,
I'm not saying it's not true. I'm just saying it's hilarious.
That's what I mean. You look at every NBA team, and it's like you can't even recognize them from the beginning of the season. They're all different now.
How you're sitting there going, okay, things are not going well in Brooklyn. I get that. Okay, fine. They haven't been going well in Brooklyn for a long time.
Yeah.
Actually, they've been going better in Brooklyn than they have been for the Knicks, which is even longer. Okay. So, you're going to trade. I mean, Kyrie Irving for a ham sandwich. That would probably work. But Durant, you're putting him in Phoenix? What the hell are you thinking?
I know, right?
I mean, you do get to pick the people you trade with. And, it's like Phoenix didn't need help to begin with. And now you set KD over there.
And that's the other thing about it. It's like, okay, here, you take our problem, we'll take yours, right? And so they do the trade, and then it's like, well, we don't want your problem. Who wants Jay Crowder? Anybody?
Last year was Ben Simmons. It's like,
but for them, it was like, we just got him, and it's like, anybody want him? We just got Jay Crowder. Anybody want him? There's 2 days.
Do we have to pay him? It's, oh, crap, we got to pay him. That's the how many, and this is one of the funny parts of looking at business of sports, right? How many dead presidents you got there? I mean, guys who are collecting cash who aren't playing. I mean, I think John Wall has created a cottage industry out of, out of not playing, but getting paid for it. I mean, how does that work?
Don't get me started on John Wall. He ended up back on Houston.
I know.
How does that happen?
I would have fired the general manager on the spot.
Like, he literally held out for a whole year there, finally gets off the team, and like less than 2 years later finds himself back on the team.
It's like, it's like a bad movie. It's like, stop it.
That was my favorite, because when I saw that, I was like, we literally came full circle. He ended up back and so I put that
paid. It's not like it's not like they got him for $20. I mean, he got serious cash.
Yeah, and I even made the joke because I put it in my Discord about the NBA trade deadline being like a swingers party, and somebody actually brought up John Wall, and I go, he just ended up with Zex.
Right.
Like, he came full circle and just ended up with the team he didn't want to be on again. Like, and the thing is, how do you even go through, like, how does Houston say, oh yeah, we'll take Wall in the trade? We had him a year ago.
Right. Well, we got a locker and a jersey with his name on it. We might as well get it,
It's just ridiculous. It's literally swapping problem for problem. It's like, you take my problem, I'll take yours. And now that they're on different teams, they'll be happy and play.
I remember when Jim Bowden was, and by the way, Jim Bowden is a fun and good analyst. He's a horrible general manager. Anyway, I remember one day when the Nationals, he was the first general manager of the Nationals. And I remember at Nationals Park one day, just before the trade deadline, he's like, Jim is like burning the phone up. I mean, he's calling everybody. He literally is trying to get rid of everybody that, every dog on the team is going somewhere, he thinks. And so he makes a trade with one of the big dogs. I mean, one of the guys who just was having a year that nobody wanted. And he traded him for a pitcher who was, under 500, had walked the entire league. I mean, basically. And I look at Jim, I go, what's the deal here? And he goes, well, they're taking my crap and I'm taking their crap. And I said, where's the upside here? He goes, their crap costs less than my crap.
Oh my God.
So I said to him, he said, he waves. Standard operating procedure in any sport is before you make the trade, you get the doctors to look at it to pass a physical.
Yeah.
He waived the physical.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, what? I mean, you're getting a pitcher, okay? That's an arm, okay? You need to know where that arm is. He goes, no, I don't. And I said, why? He says, because I sent him a guy whose knees I don't want them to know about. I said, Jim, he's going to run to first base, okay? You hope.
This is what I'm talking about. Just problem for problem.
I can get the first base faster than he can. I don't know what the hell you think you're pulling over on somebody.
That's a good one, though. You need to know his arm. No, he's got knees that I don't want them to know about.
Right. So they compound your point, which is I'll take your problem for mine, by not only taking the problem but taking an injury with it.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you make a trade? And this is what happened. How do you make a trade for a pitcher who ends up on a 60-day disabled list because he can't play?
Yeah.
And you traded for him.
And then the other thing is like, my problem was more expensive.
Right. Yes. I dumped cash. Okay.
His problem was cheaper, so I took it.
Yeah, I'll take his problem because his guy's cheaper.
I'll take that one.
Oh man, it's not successful. Successful. Any pearls of wisdom as to futures on baseball?
Ooh, is it that time already? I honestly,
it's only 2 weeks away from spring training, so
I haven't even really
looked, huh?
Thought about the futures. Oh, there's the Dodgers as usual and the Astros. I kind of like the Mets. I'll be honest.
Okay.
I like
DeGrom now.
I liked them last year. I had them to win the division, which, oh my God, right at the end of the season, they had to blow it. But I just think, Steve Cohen wants to win with that team, and
Oh, I don't think there's any question about that.
he's coughing out the money to do it. And he's one of those owners, we talked about how owners, some buy a team for, certain reasons, whether it's ego or because they like the team. He's one of those guys that he likes the team. He's a Mets fan, and he was tired of seeing them go to waste year after year.
So family ruined it.
Yeah. So he bought them. He put $400 million into the team, probably more than that by now. But he's spending the money. He's bringing in the players, and I really like this Mets team. I know last year I liked them a lot last year, and I know they blew it near in the playoffs, obviously, and near the end of the season they could have won the division too. But at the same time, I think they overachieved last year. I think they did overachieve a little bit because we were expecting improvement, but we didn't expect them to be a 100-win team. Like that was
no, and part of it had to do with the fact that the East was pretty crummy last year. But they did have you have DeGrom and Scherzer. You got yourself they had some guys on that pitching staff that were pretty amazing.
Yeah, they definitely.
They lost Jacob DeGrom, who, for reasons only known to him, is in Texas.
Just doesn't want to play for the Mets. He was so set on
leaving. I get that, but Texas?
No, I know, right? And who else was it? Corey Seager took the money
from. Seager went to Texas the year before.
Yeah, a year before. So this is what I mean. It's they're just Texas is throwing money at people. That's what it is. But they're still bad.
Yeah, people are taking it.
It's like the Angels, right? It's they got all these great players, Ohtani, Mike Trout, but you still have a losing season. It's how are we still having a losing season?
So you bring up the Angels, okay? At the beginning of the offseason, the Angels were for sale. And I called a friend of mine out.
That was last season?
Yeah.
Okay.
So during the winter meetings, the announcement was.
Oh yeah, they fired the GM, I think, and a few other things, right? They were doing all that. Okay.
So you thought, okay. And then I had a friend of mine who lives out there who's a big Angels guy. I called him. I said, "Do you really think Artie Moreno wants to sell this team?" I mean, because Artie Moreno loves going to the state. He loves being Artie Moreno, but he also loves being the owner of the Angels. And I thought, man, this guy's owned that team forever. And I guess now he's going to cash out or whatever and get it done, right? And at the end of the day, he pulled them off the market and said, I'm keeping them. And then he goes out and picks up, a couple of players at, maybe $200-300 million together. And all of a sudden, there you are. You got the same damn team again. No pitching. They still don't have enough pitching. And, if you look at the roster, you say, well, they definitely have a shot at being, winning the West. But they never stay healthy. So how's that work? I mean, the Dodgers are going to be there because the Dodgers have an all-star team basically playing up and down. You can't overlook the Braves because they always have a good team. Philly's coming back, and they added Trey Turner, which is a good ad for them. Pisses me off, but good ad for them. And there's more than a few teams in both leagues that have legit shots. The Blue Jays have a legit shot in the East because the Yankees never cease to underperform, and the Red Sox have gone into some spiral situation where they don't know what they're doing, and then you've got the Orioles who are playing small ball, but we'll have to see how that experiment works out. But and then in the Central, what is it? I guess Cleveland would be the favorite. Maybe Minnesota.
Yeah, probably Cleveland. They play. See, the thing is, actually, I don't know how good Cleveland's going to be. I thought Cleveland was good last year because one of the things they had to their advantage was they play really well against the shift.
Yeah.
But I think they got rid of the shift this year, right?
This year you're not, no shift.
Yeah. So I don't know how that's going to affect their game style because they had basically been coached. It was their way of making that was their strategy is if you're going to shift against us, we'll learn to hit into the gaps. So maybe they can just hit into the gaps now, but it'll be interesting to see how that affects them.
You brought up a good point, and that fascinates me, that you wouldn't learn to hit to the opposite field. I mean, they're basically, I don't care if you bunt to the damn opposite field. You know, it's going to get you on base. So get on base and then worry about it. But the best I've ever seen during the shift era was Daniel Murphy. And the reason, and I don't understand, I think it was, he had like Roger Federer's wrists. You know, he could move a ball anywhere he wanted it. So if you wanted to hit it to the left, you could hit it to the left. If you wanted to hit it to the right, you could hit it to the right. And that, I mean, he wasn't going to hit you a lot of home runs. He's a singles guy. But that single gets him to first base, and somebody else behind him gets him in. But I can't figure out two things I could never figure out is why people can't bunt. That's a pretty simple concept. And why they can't hit to the opposite field. Just reach out there and poke it to the opposite field.
Yeah, I was watching a Yankees Royals game last year. Mm-hmm. And I get the feed with Carlos Beltran up here. He's one of the commentators or analysts or whatever. But they had I'm drawing a blank on his name. It's on the tip of my tongue. But is that really that famous Royals player? Is really famous and obviously retired now. He's a
George Brett.
That's it, George Brett. They had him on as a guest. And so he was talking about the shift, and he goes, you know, if I played in these days MLB,
it hit 400.
He was literally like, I would be the best player. Like, it's a joke to me. You're going to shift on me, I'll hit the other way. I don't understand why more players can't learn to do that.
George Brett was a hell of a hitter.
And I thought he made a great point because it's like, that's your professional job. Your job is literally to win games. Why wouldn't you try to practice something that's going to give you an advantage hitting into the gap?
Well, Daniel Murphy, during batting practice, would bring a tee out and put the ball in the tee. And he would figure out where, you know, he'd show different pitches and put the ball where different pitches would be. And every time he hit it, it would go to where he wanted it to. Left field, left field, left field, left field. He's a right. He's a left-hand batter. George Brett, no doubt. George Brett, Wade Boggs, who was a contemporary of his, same thing. I mean, those guys could have easily done it.
Yeah, and he was like making fun of it almost. He was like, I would destroy these guys with the
No, he's right. He's right. He would make you pay. And there were more than a few of those guys who looked good bat control. And now everybody's pulling the ball. I don't understand why. I mean, since everybody throws the ball at 100 miles an hour, I don't see how you're pulling it anyway. But okay, go for it. But yeah, there's it's like a lot of good baseball storylines this year. There's, we'll see how it all plays out. Rest in peace, by the way, to Ted Lerner, the owner of the Washington Nationals at 94 years old yesterday. Passed away.
I didn't see that.
His son, Mark, he and Mark were tremendous owners of the Nationals. They enjoyed baseball, and they enjoyed Ted's career. Ted actually was an usher for the Washington Senators in the early 1930s. So that's how far his baseball love went. And it was funny because the first free agent they signed was Jason Worth, who had just come off a World Series with the Phillies. And but he was a role player for all intents and purposes. He wasn't really the star of the show. And somebody goes to Ted. One of the reporters goes up to Ted and says, "You know, Mr. Lerner, you paid $127 million for 7 years for Jason Worth. Don't you think that you overpaid?" And he looked at him. He said, "Son, it's only overpaying if I can't afford it." And he said, "I can afford it. That's number one." And he goes, "Number two, I'm looking for somebody who's good in the clubhouse who can work with young players. My understanding is that's Jason Worth." So
you're not just paying for the on-field.
Right. I'm paying for And what Jason was able to do in 7 years,
The leadership, in the club abilities.
with that club, and I told you about the thing with Bryce, where Bryce would, kept smacking into the wall, and Jason went out there and put the tape on the wall to make it look like here's where you're not supposed to go.
Yeah, the white outline.
Right, exactly. And
Dead body here.
So Bryce strikes out one day, and he goes down. He's going into the tunnel. He takes the bat. He throws the damn bat. The bat breaks in half, flies back, and hits him right between the eyes.
Wow.
And he had to come out of the game because they were afraid he had a concussion. So the next day, in Bryce's bat rack, there's nothing but wiffle ball bats.
Oh my God.
And so he goes to the equipment manager. He goes, "Where's my bats?" And he goes, "You have to see Worth to get them." So he goes to Worth, and Worth's like, "You can't have this bat until you prove to me that you know what to do with it." He goes, "You strike out, don't break the damn bat. It was your fault. It wasn't the bat's fault." And he made it. I mean, everything with Jason was fun and light, and all that.
It was a joke.
It was you would learn because he would make you a fool.
Yeah.
Learning. And so you don't want to be a fool, so you'll learn.
Best way to teach.
Mm-hmm. Makes it fun. But I can't tell you how hilarious it was when Bryce walked up to his bat rack and only to see wiffle ball bats. So it says these are unbreakable.
Yeah, seriously. It's like
So
good
you
luck.
don't have to worry about that. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
You might put a hole in it, but
Right.
you're not going to snap in half on you.
Right. It's not going to snap in half and come back and smack you in the face.
Yeah, you'll just destroy it before it gets to that point. It'll be flatten out, and I got whiff ball.
There was also you remember the pitcher Jonathan Papelbon? He's a Phillies relief pitcher.
Maybe not.
Well, okay, they're going down. The Nationals are going down the stretch drive, and they need a reliever. And whatever possessed Mike to go out and get Papelbon, I have no idea, because Papelbon is a certifiable nutcase. So, as many relief pitchers are.
That's like saying, why would the Mavericks go get Kyrie?
Right, exactly. So, or why would John Wall end up in Houston again? So Papelbon gets pissed at Bryce and is literally strangling him at the other. He's got his hands around his throat, and they're fighting at the other end of the dugout. Now, Matt Williams, who was
Guys,
the one
you're on the same team. Do it to the other team.
Right. So basically, Worth walks down to the other end of the dugout, pulls them apart, and says, "If we're going to do this, we're going to do it on pay-per-view, and we're going to make money off of it." And he goes, "Now you go to that end, and you go to the other end." And he goes, "And I don't want to see the two of you together." Because we're going to take a timeout, and so he's doing all this stuff. The manager is oblivious to what's going on.
Oh my God!
He doesn't even know they're fighting. That was Matt Williams, who clearly had no.
I thought you were going to tell me he was going to prop them up on the coat hangers or whatever, hang each by the jersey with them still in the jersey. It's like, you stay there. Okay, timeout. 5-10 minute timeout.
A little too big to do that. I mean, you would have had to have one hell of a coat rack.
Some reinforced coat hangers.
Exactly. That would have been. Those are two not little dudes. They are definitely big guys. So yeah, you would definitely want to do that, but. Yeah, baseball wise, tell you what, maybe the next week or so, we'll get a hold of Pete Medhurst, who's one of the radio voices of the Nationals, and get him to talk about how bad they are going to be this year. But he can speak very well of your Mets because he saw them 19 times.
Hey,
now,
it's okay. I'm a Cardinals fan. I'm a Sharks fan, so I'm used to bad teams. I can resonate on the same level.
Yeah, that's a good point. You can
not St. Louis Cardinals, but I'm talking just bad teams.
For a moment, I was thinking the St. Louis Cardinals aren't bad.
No. I'm talking bad teams in general in every sport. It's like if it's a bad team, I probably cheer for it.
Well, I went to a high school where we won 2 games. Then the first team I cover is the the 1976 expansion Buccaneers who don't win a game. So, basically, with the exception of going to the University of Florida where they did win games, I didn't really get to see a lot of winning home teams. So I feel your pain, but there's a lot of there's the what was the thing that we just talked about? Okay, the shift's not going to be there anymore, and there's going to be a
permanent. The permanent extra base runner is permanent now.
Right in the after 9 inning games when you go to extras.
In only regular season, I think, not playoffs.
Yeah, not the postseason.
But yeah, it's a permanent thing now. They voted, I guess, unanimous.
Well, you know what? When was it? I want to say the 70s. For 1 year, they experimented with a designated runner. You have a designated hitter, you had a designated runner.
Yeah.
So if I now know that I've got that option, I'm going to bring a sprint guy. Usain Bolt is going to be my new second baseman. He's not going to have to play. Just get out there whenever.
Literally doesn't need to know how to play baseball.
Nope.
It's like let's get the big guy as the DH, and you're going to be this little guy as the DR.
Give me a Usain Bolt, and I'm good. So there's that, right? So anyway, all right, we'll work on our little baseball stuff so we can have a little fun with that, and because baseball, one of the great things about it is we're gonna be able to see it every day.
Yeah, and there's like
and Sean's got for stagger times. Okay, so that you don't have to. And on Sunday it's ridiculous because now Peacock has an 11 a.m. game. So, which actually doesn't start until noon, that's kind of their little, their little secret is it's supposedly 11, but by the time they get the first pitch, it's almost noon.
What about the people that show up to the game?
Well, they got to get up there at 9 o'clock in the morning. I mean, it's basically
gotta get their bobblehead.
It's a brunch. Yeah, it's a brunch thing.
Gotta go get their bobblehead 2 hours before.
I will say this: if you played the night before and somebody tells you got 11 o'clock, first pitch, you're like, you got to be kidding me. It's I pitched last night. I'm not doing anything.
At least you don't have to travel, right? You just played 2-3 games in that stadium, so it's like it's just routine at that point.
Yeah,
it's the fourth day routine.
And think of it too. Most of the time for the team that's leaving, that's a getaway day because Sunday's a getaway day. So at the very the upside is you're on your plane at 4:30, 5 o'clock, where you probably wouldn't have been until 7:30. So
exactly, you'll be
depending on where you're going. You got yourself a good. But yeah, and then we've got the doubleheader baseball now on Apple coming up. Last year was a success, so I assume this year will be equally successful. So there's a lot of baseball on TV, and we will be here to help you through that.
There's only 2 seasons of the year: national season and major season. Okay, national season is NHL, NBA, NFL, and NCAA, and then major season is MLS, MLB.
Point of personal privilege here. I just want to say that my late nephew, Timothy, his Northeastern Huskies beat Harvard last night in the men's final at the Bean Pot, which if you know college hockey, that is that tournament between the 4 Boston schools is sold out. Hardest ticket in Boston to get, and they won in a shootout last night. And I'm afraid to say I fell asleep in the 3rd period, but that's what happened, and I didn't even know who won until this morning. So, but yeah, he did that for 5 years, and it was CBS, and unfortunately passed away a few years ago from a severe case of food poisoning.
Oh.
So, Tim, wherever you're watching it from, good on you. I know you're happy to see the Huskies win from that standpoint. So, Northeastern beats Harvard in the final. So, there you go. Any final thoughts before we move on today?
Yeah, one final thought. I just got a notification that the Colts hired Eagles offensive coordinator Shane Steichen
as their
as
head
their
coach.
as their head coach. Just happened like literally in the last 5 minutes, I guess.
Good on him.
So there you go. New Colts head coach can start your Tuesday off with that information.
There you go. Oh, is Matt Ryan coming back to the Colts?
I don't know. I saw him on the like Fox panel during the playoffs or no CBS, and I think even like Boomer Esiason was like, he's not retired yet, and please don't retire. No, please do retire.
Yeah, I was about to say more than happy to. That one, I believe the Colts themselves would fax to the league office. You don't have to worry about that. I got a big kick out of Gronk talking about Brady sending the papers in to do it. He goes, I tried to call him up and say, don't. You can still act like you're retired, but no. So
no, he's trying to get Giselle back. He needs to send those in.
Yeah, exactly. But see, what that's a very costly divorce. She actually makes more money than he does.
Oh,
so.
I know. I know she does. But yeah, that's
like and for good reason, I can assure you of that.
Oh yeah. But that's like the foundation. You want to get back together, file those damn papers so you can't go back on your word.
If you had done that last year, you'd still be married.
Exactly, right?
Jeez,
you'd be a $400 million broker.
Right.
Still. But you'd be married.
Right. There's much to be said for that.
But, it makes sense now why he took the year off. He wants to show Giselle, I want to spend time with the kids and family time before I start my next adventure with Fox or whatever.
Right.
I don't like how they're getting rid of Greg Olsen, though. Disappointing.
Greg Olsen's good.
He was very good. It's very good. And a lot of people are pissed off because if Tom Brady ends up being like another Tony Romo.
They haven't actually committed to have him in the booth yet.
No, they announced it yesterday. That I thought they announced it. Somebody posted in my Discord. They announced that he's going to replace Olsen on that feed or whatever.
I don't see that. I mean, I see that. I don't know where Tom's gonna. I don't know. I mean,
I agree with you. Give him a different partner, right? Let him find his own partner, I guess.
Well, the other thing is, he would be better, I would think, in a studio host position, because you want to put your star athletes, your star people there, and not put them on games.
They can't do that though. There's only room for one TB12 on the panel, Jim.
That's a good point.
You can't have two TB12s on the halftime panel. Yeah. Fox made a big mistake with that one.
It's like, guys, didn't you read his bio? He's TB12 too.
We already have a TB12, and we've been giving away his money for years. Now we're bringing in another one, and you're giving him all the money.
And the trucks. Well, I bet you Terry Bradshaw hasn't made $350 million in his entire career.
Well, they're always giving away his money with that.
And his trucks.
I saw that his car. I was like, not Terry's car. You can't be taking his car from him.
Give you guys something.
What are you doing?
The only thing he's got left is Skechers.
Yeah, I was gonna say, man needs his truck. You've already taken his money. Now you're taking his truck too.
Taking his money. What the hell's going on?
I'm sure they probably pay for it. I don't believe it's actually his.
Oh money. No, of course it's not.
There's no way he would agree with that. But it's fun. It's fun to make fun.
Oh yeah,
Terry's funny.
Yeah, well, Terry is fun, he has always been funny. So even when he was a player, he was funny. His great line is, that they asked him about the tryouts, right? They said, "How did you do on the Wonderlic test?" He goes, "Well, I think I just had a problem." His wife said, "Well, I couldn't spell cat if you spotted me the C and the A." So Terry's all. He was when he was a member of the Steelers. He was in a movie with Burt Reynolds, the first Smokey and the Bandit film.
Oh, good old.
So Terry was the father-in-law to Matthew McConaughey in the film Failure to Launch. So he's
I know that one.
He's turned his his comedic chops to acting from time to time. But he and Howie have been on that set for quite a while, so I don't know. I would have thought that Tom would have been better on the set, but
Yeah, we'll see. I guess they have a year to decide, right?
yeah, and they're going to have to try him out. So we'll
And
never see it, but they'll try him out, and they'll put him with is it Burkhart that does the play-by-play?
I think so. I
Yeah.
think it's Burkhart, and then
Burkhart has, yeah, I thought Greg did a nice job.
no, he's great. He's great, and you don't even like notice that it's him, and that's a great thing. But yeah, I think he still has another year to prove himself. So
Right.
maybe Fox will see his worth with this last season.
Well,
That
I mean, he's very good. He's undertoned. I mean, it's not like he's in your face and all that. He definitely has. But I thought he handled the holding call toward the end of the game quite well. He said, "Look, where exactly did he hold him?
Yeah,
it's just because I can't see it." And they brought G. Sabator in, the NFL former NFL referee, and he said, "Watch." They showed the film and the tape back, and you saw his fingers reach for the jersey and probably just graze it. And he says, "But you have to understand," because the umpire who made the call the penalty, he said he's seeing this in real time. He's not seeing it slowed down like we're seeing it. He had no idea that the guy was,
Well, if he has no idea, he didn't see the hold, so you shouldn't throw the flag for something.
What I'm saying is, let me read it. The guy who did the holding, I forget who it was. It was on Juju Schuster. That part.
Oh, the defensive back.
The defensive back, I can't remember. Said after the game, he did grab and got a piece of the jersey.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw he admitted to the hold, but still, like my point is, like I know the ref is seeing it in real time, but if you only see the fingers grazing, you didn't really see the hold. So.
Well, the other thing is, and it's happened, but I guess it doesn't happen super. If we've all seen where they've thrown the flag, right? But they'll pick it up.
Yeah.
He could have just as easily picked that up.
Exactly.
And said, you know what? I thought at first he held, then I realized he didn't. So the flag is not. And you'll see sometimes, not you got to be careful watching the referees, but you'll see sometimes where the officials will look up at that scoreboard and see what happened, and then they'll walk over and pick up the flag.
I see. That's not
so they look up.
Just review every play at that point.
Yeah, you might as well. And since every defensive player thinks that the offense holds on every play, and in some cases they do, that would be the way to go.
You really could, but
yeah, we could. Yeah, so
we could call holding on every play.
Yeah, you could. So at least on the line, I do like the Philadelphia rugby scrum though.
Yeah.
They must have watched tapes of the All Black from Australia on that one.
More teams are going to start adopting that, I think.
Yeah, I mean, why not? You've got all. Now, the only thing you have to be careful of, you have to have 4 guys on the line.
Okay.
So, I saw, and I'm like, I'm counting. I'm like, get the 4. Okay, fine. Because they got guys in the backfield, who are linemen. So, but that's all part of the brought in. They brought in they brought those guys in and replaced wide receivers with former offensive and defensive tackles, and then everybody pushes in forward. So I shouldn't have brought that up because that cost you some cash the other day because your guy caught the first what was supposed to be the first touchdown, only to find out that
I didn't have Gainwell, but I had over 11.5 for the jersey numbers. So I was ecstatic when it was him. And then as soon as they ruled it short, I knew right away. I was like, oh, well, everybody in the world knows Hurts is just going to slam it in now.
And everybody knows he wears number 1.
Exactly. Right? I was going to say, everybody knows the rugby scrum is coming next if you call that short. Unbelievable.
My mother, by the way, wore her Jalen Hurts jersey on Sunday. So
There you go. I know. I was on the Eagles. It's disappointing, but it's fine. It's whatever. It's
Hey,
baseball season. Screw the Super Bowl. It's baseball
That's
season.
right. We're getting to the good stuff. We're getting to March Madness, and we're getting to baseball season.
Exactly.
So we can have some fun with that.
Exactly.
All right. Well, guys, thanks for joining us, Amedeus. I'll see you tomorrow bright and early at 9:00, and we'll have some fun stuff. Tomorrow's slate, you say, is a much better slate of Champions League.
Yeah, better games.
And maybe, just maybe, we don't know, but we might get a appearance from Mr. Sean Miller from his European vacation. So
we'll see.
He and Chevy Chase, right? Yeah. So we'll see how it turns out. Until then, though, for Amedeus, I'm Jim. Take care, everybody.